My name's Becky Norwood with Spotlight Publishing. We have Daniel Fagan, Frederick Martinez, Corryn Kivett, Jeremy Nicolaides. Is that how you say your last name?
Nicolaides.
Nicolaides. And
But that's how
Lynn.
90% of the people say it. So you're in good company.
Oh, very good. Sorry, I got it wrong. And Linda Carmine, who is the heart and soul behind this book coming together and choosing all the remarkable human beings, extraordinary human beings that have chosen to be part of this. So the name of this book is 1% More, The Hidden Force to Creating Extraordinary Results in Life and Business. And we are celebrating today because this magnificent book has been brought to the world. And it's because of your contribution that it's made it so incredible. So, Danielle, let's start with you. The name of your chapter, and I think I got to turn my page here, is Winner's Mindset on and Off the Field. Let's talk about what your chapter, why you wrote the chapter, why you chose to be in this book.
Yeah, so I wrote this chapter. My company is Soccer DCF, hence the sweatshirt. And my methodology and philosophy has always been creating winners on and off the field and developing players on and off the field, because I'm a firm believer in how sports mimics life, and all the lessons that you get out of sports you can then take into life, whether it be your career, furthering your education, family, relationships, etc. And each piece of my chapter just takes something from soccer specifically and how it relates to life. And I chose to be part of this book, especially because I can only coach so many people at a time. And my impact has been mostly in the sports world, with youth athletics and teenagers and the like. And so being part of this book just really helps me reach more people with my message and how you can win, even if you're not an athlete, but just what you can learn from sports and take it into your own life.
Beautiful. Our last interview, we had Tom Legerine. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he has golf programs in schools. And he's in his late 80s and doing remarkable. But he goes directly into the schools and works with kids to teach them how to play the game of golf. But he teaches a lot of important life lessons. And in the world of sports, it's something that's the way to reach a lot of kids that you maybe couldn't have done it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Frederick, your chapters, what does being a warrior mean to you? Tell us about that. I know you're part of the Extraordinary Being movement, and I know that it's been several years ago that you and Christopher and Lynn interviewed me, and that's my first acquaintance with you guys. And you were remarkable in the way you did the interview. So what's the premise behind your chapter, and what's your big why with all of this?
The premise behind the chapter of the book is we all have these inner warriors within ourselves because we're always fighting mediocrity in our life. We have these thoughts in our head, and we always have these negative belief systems in our life that is constantly pushing us down from really truly being that extraordinary person or living up to our full potential, because we tend to just live our lives not by expressing who we are or really being in action, because we have these thoughts or these things that are kind of limiting us and not allowing us to really grow. So I wrote the book about the chapter about the warrior is finding the warrior within you, because we all have a certain warrior that we're fighting. We're fighting all these belief systems within our life, and realizing that once you eliminate these belief systems, that's when you really can truly flourish in your life. And the biggest why that I have in my life is to make a difference in the world. I look at it as we only have a finite amount of time in this world, and we live our lives like we have. There's always a tomorrow. Whereas we need to be in this present moment right now, and this right now is all we have, because tomorrow is we don't know whether or not it's going to be. Whereas in the past, it's in the past completely, and we all tend to look at it as a few things in our life of, I remember back when, or when I'm going to do this tomorrow or so. That's why I feel like just being present, and my biggest why on this whole concept of is being present and living your life to the fullest.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's so, so very important because, you know, I think with all of us having experienced COVID, I think it's a wake-up call for a lot of people to realize that we don't know what tomorrow brings at all. And also realizing that some of us have just gone through the treadmill of life and not really stopped and taken a look of how do we serve in our world. And I think most of us want to make a difference. We're here, we want to make a difference, but it has to be on a daily thing that we do. Thank you. Awesome. Corryn, your chapter is The Art of Being You. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so funny enough, Frederick and I have a very similar mindset, Frederick. You know, the art of being you it's really about you being your masterpiece. Your life is your masterpiece. And at any point in time, we can choose who we want to be going forward, right? I think that we come into this world, this blank slate, right? And then we're told who to be, how to be. And at least for myself, I found that I had climbed this corporate career. I had created this life that I thought that I wanted. Yet I was just getting by. I was just on autopilot. I was settling. It looked really good, however, felt very, very unfulfilled. And I think that a lot of people do that. They sit on autopilot. And we have so much potential within us. However, it requires us to peel back those layers to get in touch with who we truly are. Because you can't really go after what you want if you don't know who you truly are, right? Are the things that you want what you truly want, or because someone told you that you're supposed to have them, right? Are you doing them for a certain reason? So it's really about peeling back the layers of who are you really beneath the surface? Get in relationship with that, and what do you truly want? Because I found that when people are shoulding on themselves, doing what they should do, or doing what they're supposed to do, or I have to do this, right? I need to do this. There's so much heaviness to it, and it makes things so hard when people are in their purpose, when they're in their flow, they're tapped in, right? There's like a magic that happens when they're out in the world, when they're doing business, whatever it is that they do, right? When they're being who they truly are, what they're doing doesn't really matter because that's who they're being. And then they can create a life and business or whatever it is around them. And it's based off of purpose. So the art of being you really is recognizing that our life is a masterpiece. It is artwork. The choices, the decisions that we're making are the paint strokes. And at any point in time, we could say, this isn't the painting that I want. I want to paint a different painting. Or, hey, maybe those paint strokes, I thought that they were going to go this way. And wow, it's turning out to be an amazing masterpiece. So it's really about the art of creating your life and being who you really are.
Very beautiful. And there's only one you. There's only
There
one
is
each
one,
of us.
you know.
That's right. And there's only one thing that we can do. Not one thing we can do, but by being us, that's how we're going to make an impact in the world.
Yeah, 100%. We're the common denominator, right? We're the common denominator in our lives. And
Right.
I truly believe that the more that we show up in our full light, the more that others can as well. We get to use.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Jeremy, Create and Live Free is the name of your chapter. Talk to us about what that means for you.
You know, it's funny. It's I'm just going to continue right on with the theme here. It's like you picked us intentionally and planned this whole thing out to create this awesome book. Create and Live Free is exactly what we're talking about, right? We need to create our own life, right? I mean, for me, my background is in the film business, and you know, I did what I thought I was supposed to do. I had really the limiting beliefs, right, that Frederick's talking about. And in many cases, for some people, it works fine. But I think we have to stop thinking that there's a one size fits all for everybody, right? I took, you know, years and years and years to, you know, climb the corporate ladder, right? To get to all the way up to the top, to have the quote unquote dream job, right? My chapter starts with me walking around the set of Harry Potter, right? And what people would think this is like so amazing. But I too then started feeling a lack of fulfillment, right? Like, why am I doing this? Why am I giving my life away for a movie that's going to come and go in a matter of weeks, right?
Mhm.
So that kind of was like, that feeling kind of set me on a different path. I went and, bought a print and marketing business. I stepped out of Hollywood for a little bit, but I kept going into like this cyclical behavior of burnout and pull back, right? I'd burn myself out and pull back, burn myself out and pull back. And it wasn't until I realized that I had to just kind of stop, reevaluate, get rid of all this whole belief system that we have to go step by step. Everything has to be incremental, and start designing a life that works for me, right? And what works for me may not work for you. And how do we do that? What is that? And that's really at the core, right? Because I think, when I went through all my struggles when I was doing this, I kept feeling like so much of this information should be common knowledge, right? That things should be taught to us at a younger age so that we can live a more free life, a life that is set up by ourselves for ourselves, right? And that's really the why, is to help other people, just to break free from those shackles, right? And do what they want to do and figure out how to do that while also supporting themselves and their family.
That's beautiful. And the world is our oyster. We have the ability to step out and really listen to what it is that our hearts are telling us. And these interviews today have been just a classic example of numerous people deciding to take that stand and to listen to what's going on, not so happy with the way things were going, not truly happy, and here just taking the time, the pause, and saying, this is what I really want to do. How important is that, do you think, in our world right now, Jeremy?
Well, I think what's amazing is that we have a book full of people who are doing it, right?
Yes.
A lot of times people say, oh, it's too good to be true. Oh, well, that just works for you. Well, here's a whole book of people who are doing that, right? How are we living our life for ourselves, and what are the processes and the steps? Because again, it's not a one size fits all. We have to figure out, right? And so the idea is really truncating trial and error, right? Some of my hardest times was because I would try something and I'd get into this, how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do it? And then finally I'd figure it out, and then I'd take a few more steps and run into another wall, and how do I do it? How do I do it? And that trial and error costs a lot of time and money. And there was like pain and struggle for us. And it wasn't until I started listening to, podcasts and reading books and joining coaching programs and masterminds that I started learning from other people that helped expedite that process, right? So I think it's critical that we're all doing this and all have an opportunity, because what we're going to give up 50 years of our lives to hopefully have 10 good years on the back end. Like Frederick was saying, there is no tomorrow and yesterday, it's now, right? So how do we enjoy now, right? To at the risk of sounding super cliche, right? It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the game, right, Danielle, right? Like it's not about who wins or loses. It's how we play, right? That's the fun part. So let's have fun while we're doing it, and it'll all be fine in the end.
Well, that is so cool, because I think about, if you think on our previous interview that we had Tom Legerine, and he's in his late 80s. He's doing amazing things in the world today, even in his late 80s, because he never wants to stop working. And yet I think of how many, you think when he started out in life, and 80 some years ago, they didn't have what we have today to learn, watch podcasts, to tap into these books that we so easily tap into today. We have everything at our disposal. We have so much that is available to us, and what a beautiful thing that is. And so I feel, Lynn, you've done a remarkable job bringing incredible people to participate in this book, which is a tribute to you, the very fact that you know all these remarkable people, but at the same time is really understanding the responsibility each one of us to have to be an impactful influencer in the world, to really reach out, make a difference, and to stand tall and to let our voices be heard, because there's one voice or one person maybe that needs to hear your message, and that's so important. For you, Danielle, you work with a lot of young people. What would you say to a young person as they're struggling through something in their life at this time? What would be your words of advice to them?
Well, that's a really good question. I think, because I work with a lot of kids that they're dealing with, there's so many things that they're dealing with right now coming out of COVID and things have changed, especially the athletes, because their sports were taken away from them, and that was their outlet for a lot of them. Or they were looking to play college sports, and that got, there were setbacks there in terms of the recruiting process came to a dead standstill. And even off the field too, there's school, there's all the things that come with academics, the pressures there to succeed. And then the social, like the peer acceptance. So there's like so many different things that I can address with players. And a lot of times I don't necessarily address them head on so much as I do it within the framework of my training sessions with them on the field, whether it be one-on-one or in a team setting or in a small group. It's a lot of times just finding out like what's in their way, like what's the obstacle, what's the challenge for them, and then relating it back to the sport itself. It's very simple. Like I was talking to this one player, she was dealing with a specific issue, and I said, she's like, well, I tried this one thing and it didn't work. And I said, okay, great. She happens to be a forward in the game of soccer, and one of the forward's responsibilities is to score goals. I said, well, if you wanted to score goals in the game, how many shots would you have to take? And, I said, if you just took one shot and missed, would you stop shooting? Would you just quit the game? So a lot of times I'm able to just relate, again, whatever it is they're dealing with, back to the specific sport, their position, anything within the game itself. And, that's just, and then I can also relate it back to my own experiences.
Right.
Because like Jeremy, I was like, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder. I spent almost 10 years in corporate, and then realized that, hey, there are other ways. There are other pathways. There are other things that I can do where I can really make the impact that I want to make. Because I used to rush out of work 2 nights a week to go coach my little soccer team. And that was the highlight of my day, right? And then we'd have our games on the weekend, and it was like, oh, I could actually do this full time. And then a lot of times too, in giving advice to players don't like advice. A lot of people don't want to hear advice, especially when it's unsolicited. Right. But a lot of times if I say it in such a way where it doesn't come across as coaching or advice, then it makes a difference. And there's no specific method to it. It's a lot of it has to do with just my relationship with the player themselves, right, and the context of what's happening in the moment. So a lot of it is just kind of, I fly by the seat of my pants, and having the experience and the knowledge I have, I sometimes say the right thing at the right time. And if I don't, then I fix it.
Well, and then that's always because we never stop learning, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
but we don't always know right in the moment, but it doesn't mean we don't learn from it and continue to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Frederick, you have a whole lot of awards and stuff behind you. I'm so curious, what is all this about, and how does that tie in with how you live life today?
How this ties in is because I'm coming from the area of being the underdog to becoming a champion. Because of where I grew up, I was the last one picked. I was the short runt of the litter, if you kind of think about it. All my friends were a lot taller than me. They were 6 foot tall. I remember when I was a sophomore in high school, I got cut from the basketball team. And then I even went to the coach and I said, hey, you have all these players that are got cut. And or not got cut, but they became ineligible. And, I'm wanting to play. And it's like, I'll play deep, I'll play whatever. And he was all, you're too short for me. So I let that resonate with me, and I used all that as my fuel. And then I ended up becoming a Division I athlete in track and field. I ran the 100 meter dash. So I always used all this negative energy of people always saying that you're not good enough, you're too short, you're too small, whatever it might have been. I used that as my fuel in order to achieve success in my life. So after I was done with my college eligibility, I ended up started in a sport of weightlifting. And whereas I wanted to represent the United States in international competitions, which I have done, but my primary goal was to try and make the Olympic team trials. So I always sought out the best. I had 2 coaches that coached in the Olympics that took athletes to the Olympics. And I just looked at it as I didn't reach my goal, but I had a beautiful journey. And so I kind of look at it as this right here in the back, all it is just a representation of my journey. That's because I look at it as, I don't remember like how I won this medal or that trophy or whatever, but I do remember the things in my life that got me to that point, and all the negative things that helped, that I transformed into something being successful. And I appreciate that journey of where I came from and where I'm going. And I just look at it as an athlete, we always like look at, hey, here's the peak. And what ends up happening is we're always chasing that next high. And what happens is that when you reach that high, you get that drop. And whereas I'm looking at it as, I'm not chasing that goal. I'm chasing who I can become better every single day. And that's what I'm trying to really put out to the world, is being better every single day, as well as not only on the field, it's off the field. Because, you know, when I'm listening to the stories of Danielle talking about being a coach, I'm looking at it as I had tremendously good coaches in my life, that I had good life skills in order for me to become a better individual. It's not about being a better athlete. It's about being a better individual, about being a better contributor in life, and how I can make a difference in people's lives. And that's how I see all this stuff in this world.
So it's actually that 1% more that you can do that will make all the difference, and which is what the title of the book is.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that you have huge mountains to climb. It means that you want that little tiny thing you can do differently today that will make the biggest difference. Yeah, awesome. Very good. So Corryn, as you chose to write your chapter in this book, and you serve in the world that you do, what would you hope that somebody picking up a copy of this book would walk away with?
That somebody picking up the book can recognize that every day is your day. Every day. Every day you have a choice on who you get to be. What I mean by that is, you know, I think sometimes we go through life and we have these challenges, we have these obstacles, right? Sometimes we have the same challenges, the same obstacles, the same patterns.
Over and over again.
You told yourself, I wasn't going to be here again, right? Wasn't going to be here. Yet we always have a choice to do something different. And I truly believe that, you know, who we are is always so as we're changing and as we're shifting, it's never about changing who we are. It's just about evolving into a next version of ourselves, right? So it's recognizing who have we been, how has that served us, learn the lessons, embrace that person, right? Thank you so much for getting me up into this point, and I'm going to walk down a different street this time. I've been walking down the same street for a long time, and I'm going to choose to walk down a different street. And sometimes that evolution, it can be tough, because we're human, right? Like it's so simple, yet it can be tough, which is why it's so important to have a book like this, right? To read other people's stories, to be listening to Danielle talk, Frederick talk, Jeremy talk about their journey, to recognize that, hey, other people have gone through this, right? Somebody that's picking up the book, I have no idea where they're at in their life. It could quite literally be their day one of honesty, or maybe they've been doing a lot of work. It doesn't matter, because every day is your day one, and you get to choose, just like what you said, that 1% more, right? The title of this book, what's that 1% more that I can do a little bit differently this week? Okay, what can I shift here? Where can I evolve here? What lessons can I learn? So somebody picking up this book, I really hope that they get that they are in control of their life, they're in control of their dreams, at any point in time they can choose to be who they want to be. And sometimes in the moment that choice can be, I'm going to say, difficult, and sometimes it can be easy, right? Regardless, though, I hope that this book helps them along their journey, so that way they can step into who they truly are and create that life, that business, the relationships, the health, all of the things that we truly desire. Because I believe every single one of us deserves to have everything that it is. We really do. And we deserve to be the greatest version of ourselves and put in the work to do that, because it's not simple.
No,
it is a
that's
little bit of work.
very sure. Thank you. Jeremy, what does being extraordinary mean to you?
to me, being extraordinary is really living with a lot less fear, right? I think so much of our life is not doing something because we're afraid of something, afraid of judgment, afraid of failure, afraid of just anything. Like there's just so much fear in the world. And if we can get rid of that, right, we're free. We're free to do whatever we want, right? We don't care what other people think. We aren't worried about failing. We're going to fail forward. We're going to try. We're going to, take imperfect action and go. And that's really what it is. And then you can become more. You can be, 1% more every day, right? And breaking down those walls. And, people picking up this book, hopefully they find a path, or they find, something that they've been looking for, and then that they finish it, right? Because then a lot of times people just don't finish things. And if they could just, take one piece of advice is stop stopping, right? Pick up the book. Hopefully you'll find some hope and some direction, and somebody has done something that you thought you couldn't do, or you were afraid to do, and you can do it and get it done, right?
Very beautiful. So Lynn, you're the mastermind behind all of this. You've brought extraordinary people. I'd like to get for you to give kudos to each one individually as to why you chose them, each individual here, to be in the book. And I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but I think you can do it.
I know, swearing it'll be holy cow. Well, Danielle and I have known each other for a very long time. We've been in groups together, different organizations together, and she's just an amazing person. She brings that energy and that fire and that champion mindset to the table, which I absolutely love. And I knew people out there need to hear that. There's people out there yearning for that, who love that style. So that's why I brought Danielle into Fred and I. We grew this the Extraordinary Being movement together. We've been friends for a very long time. He is a warrior. He loves finding ways to just really bring out that inner warrior in everybody, and even in himself. And it shows with his trophies that he has in the back. But Corryn, she's an NLP master. I mean, Fred and I are into NLP. She knows the mind. She knows how it all works. She really brings out that power that's within people to really shine. Jeremy's a master. He reading his book, and reading his chapter and learning how to create life, and his extraordinary journey in the film and in Hollywood. He's just phenomenal in what he does and what he represents. So having this collaboration of all these amazing people, these extraordinary people in this book, is really bringing so much to the table for people to learn, to people to recognize on the gifts that they have, and also on the gifts that they have inside that they may not even be aware of. And that's what this book is about, to bring a lot of self-awareness and show that you can grow and take action, and the impact that you can make on the world by doing just small little things every single day when you don't even recognize it or realize it.
Very cool. We've done a remarkable job bringing all these people together. So what's one parting word for each, or not just one word, one parting thought that each of you would like to share for those that may be listening now or later? How about for you, Danielle?
Well, I'm all about winning, right? And I know Jeremy said it's how you play the game. And so at the end of the day, the result could be maybe your team lost 1-0 or whatever it was, but you can still walk away being the winner yourself. And it's all a matter of perspective. And I tell players, every time you step on the field, get better every single time. Just get a little bit better every time you're out there. And if you leave everything on the field, and that's not just like the soccer field, that's whatever you're doing, leave it all out there. If you know that you gave everything you had and put everything you had into it and gave your best effort, then you can walk away knowing that you won. And there's always something to learn. I've heard many athletes say, you don't lose, you learn. And so there's always something to take away. And it really is all about winning for me.
Awesome. Beautiful. Couldn't be said better. How about you, Fred?
Takeaway to give to someone is about living your life with no regrets, because like I was saying before, we only have a finite amount of time. I saw both my parents pass away, and I kind of look at it as the most important thing that they wanted was more time. And my dad told me on the day before he passed away, he said he lived his life to the fullest and he has no regrets. So I'm giving you this gift to do the same, to live your life to the fullest, everything you possibly can, and always achieve failure in life, because without failure, there is no growth.
How beautiful. And that's so poignantly true. Very good. Thank you. Jeremy.
I think, for me, it's okay, right? Like everything's okay. It's okay to be the person that you want to be. It's okay to go after that life, that voice that's in the back of your head that like, I just want to do this, but I can't, or but this, or but that. Like, just get rid of the buts, take imperfect action, and go forward, right? And that it's going to work out. You will find a way, and you're going to trip, and you're going to fall, and you're going to get up, you're going to learn, right? And you're going to keep going. And, this is your life, right? And this is today. And stop living today for tomorrow, and stop living today in fear because of something that happened yesterday, and go for it. And it'll work out, and it'll be easier than you expect, but it'll still be, there's still ups and downs on the journey, right?
Right. And each day we continually learn, but looking back isn't going to serve. It's moving each day one step at a time forward, and continuing to learn, never stop learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good. And Corryn.
I am going to piggyback on Jeremy, and what came to me was to stop waiting. You'll never be ready. Trust me, you'll never be ready. You'll never be fully ready. You become ready. And I think that anytime we go after something, we have this picture or this idea or this feeling of what it's going to be like. And the cool thing is that you get to evolve into it, and you get to create it. So you'll never be fully ready. Take the leap, whatever it is, that inner feeling, trust that, and go with it, because it's there for a reason. It's talking to you. A lot of times we've been taught to use this, right? This serves a purpose. However, this is your direction forward. So trust that.
Wonderful. What a beautiful interview. And thanks to each one of you for showing up, for being who you are, for serving the world in the way that you do, because our world, that's what we're here for. We're here to be the impactful influencers that can make a difference, and more of our voices go out, the more the ripple effect spreads out to the universe. Thank you. What a beautiful interview. For those that have been listening or will be listening, be sure and pick up a copy of the book. And if you read it and like what it says, leave a review. More importantly, share it with somebody that could really use these words of wisdom, that really just needs to one voice that they can hear through the pages of this book. Thanks to each one of you for being here, for participating, to saying yes to being a part of this wonderful movement. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.